Well, you saw that right, folks. It is another HMC Hidden Movie Club after the credits. Woo!
Yeah!
Hey.
And we got all three of the homies in the house.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I took like a month off because really, honestly, I felt like the bald representation was severely lacking. And so I wanted to kind of come back, and
Yes.
this was a perfect movie because I mean, I'll be honest, the last couple movies you guys have watched have just been crap. So I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, that could be arguable in some of those, but I don't think the Fincher ones count. So
No, he meant the Fincher ones.
I mean, not all of Fincher's movies are good, but they are great from like a filmmaking standpoint. Just not
Yeah.
like some of his movies. I'm just like, I don't really care about Mark Zuckerberg. You know, like, I don't want to
Yeah.
I don't want to sit through this for 3 hours again. Like, you know,
Mhm.
that's funny. We mentioned that on Double Take. I was like, I like David Fincher, but I have no interest in especially growing up. I was in college when Facebook was like exclusive to colleges and schools. So like, I remember that whole kind of controversy where, right when it initially blew up, they were like, hey, he totally just stole this from us. And so
yeah,
I'm not interested in the story, no matter how good the movie is, unfortunately.
yeah. It has a lot of invisible CGI, which I think is cool. But
Yeah.
so does like
such a Fincher trademark.
They Live.
This one has excellent CGI.
I believe this one has zero CGI.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of old school, maybe. I don't even know if I didn't even
Matte
spot any
painting.
like weird compositing. Or maybe there was some, but because there was definitely like the spaceships and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's minimal. There's a lot of matte painting and matte animation.
Yeah.
Right.
But outside of that, from the UK,
Hello.
cheers. Chip, chip, cheerio. Hey.
Hello.
Cheers.
211 in progress.
211 in progress.
I'm guessing that's a police code.
So I just want to say that I always love when someone says, hey, they're from the UK, and immediately someone just goes, hello. And it's like,
I'm pretty sure it's UK law in
it's
all
UK.
across the UK.
It's just
that
so
somebody
funny.
tells you they have to respond that way.
Or they'll just pull Dick Van Dyke out of their hat and be like, hello, governor. Like nobody
from Mary Poppins.
From Mary Poppins specifically. Yeah.
Step it time.
Right. And then
sorry, 211.
They start dancing with penguins, and next thing you know, it's like all hell breaks loose.
Now we're being derogatory.
No, not at all. That is no cheerious. I read their comment. That is no cheerious.
Yes.
That is notoriously how bad Dick Van Dyke's accent is in that movie. It is iconic.
Yeah.
Notoriously cheery.
No cheery. No cheery. Anyway.
No cheerious.
That's funny. So yes, today is They Live by John Carpenter, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper.
He's so
I
rowdy.
actually really love that guy. Like, I don't know why. I just think he's so cool.
You know, I've heard nothing but nice things about anyone who has ever met him or worked with him.
Same.
And I know he had a lot of health issues, especially later in life. But he, honestly, not having ever seen this movie, Trish hadn't seen it either, my wife. I was like, he's a pretty damn good actor for how cheesy this script is and the stuff that he has to say. I know, like, the whole, chew bubblegum and kick ass thing was actually his, like kind of one-liner from his own notebook when he was wrestling. Like, he would, and he actually ended up using it at some point in a match. But yeah, I was really surprised at how well he worked in this movie. And I mean, this was like way before a bunch of wrestlers started coming into the Hollywood fold, right? Like we had Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper. I'm not familiar with a ton of, I don't think many other wrestlers, maybe Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
But only
this is actually one of the only movies ever to chart on the box office charts with a wrestler as the star until The Rock and Scorpion King. That was
wow.
the
Oh,
that was
wow.
the first. Yeah, because I tried to look up. I wanted to see, like, adjusted for inflation and everything,
Mhm.
how much did all these movies starring wrestlers make? And I mean, God love him, but Hulk Hogan had like Mr. Nanny and like a couple of these other weird movies that I remember, but that were obviously not box office successes. And I just couldn't believe, because they mentioned it in the commentary on this film. He was like, it's the only movie that was actually successful in the box office that had, or the first movie really that was a box office success. And the only thing that even comes close is Princess Bride with Andre the Giant, but he's not technically a lead. So I
Right.
think that still holds up.
Anybody want the peanut? I just always think of that. Yep, that is like, I did not know that. I did not know that. That I had to quote Tommy Boy there, which was also a quote from Dana Carvey and SNL.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
Look at you tying all these
I
together.
know. Well, speaking of tying together, something that surprised me is that the actor who played I think he was just called Bum in the movie. Like, they just called him Bum, but he was the guy that eventually sold out to the the basically like sided with the aliens, pretty much.
Oh yeah, the
Spoiler
guy
alert.
that meets them in the ballroom at the end.
Yeah,
or
it
whatever.
gives them the tour. That is
Yeah.
Red
Which
from
is
Back
so
to
funny. Oh, is it really?
That's Red from Back to the Future, and also the foreman at the job site where Nada, which they never really call him Nada, but that's his credited name, Roddy
Johnny
Piper's
Nada.
character. The foreman is Lou from Lou's Diner. He was like Lou, and I was just like, wow, like a lot of these people were just little like brief moments. I was like, they were in a bunch of different movies.
Nice.
So anyway, that's my tie back to the Future.
Nice.
Just what was your overall takes on this watching it? Because obviously, Brad, you hadn't seen it before ever, correct?
Correct. I knew that the bubblegum line came from this.
Yeah.
And I'd seen clips of like what felt like the 10-minute fight scene between was it Frank and
so good.
Was his name Frank and
Frank and
Nada. Yeah.
Nada.
So it was and then I read like it was only supposed to be like a 20-second fight scene, and then they worked on it, and they like Roddy Piper taught Keith David how to really throw his punches to make him look real. And I think I read that didn't they take all the body shots, but they just didn't actually hit the face? Unless I'm thinking of a different movie.
No, you're close, and because they did kind of hit the face. So the original fight, when they choreographed it, they did it in his. They talk about it on the commentary. They choreographed the whole thing in his backyard, and when they were doing the choreography, Rowdy was like, no, hit me, like actually hit me, but right before you hit me, just like slow down, so come in fast, like you're actually gonna hit me, and then just stop yourself right at the end. And they practiced that a bunch, and then by the time they got into like the end stages of the fight, they got to where he could literally just barely make contact. And he was like, his career as a wrestler, you kind of like, he mentions in the commentary that you kind of like, it's really bad for their health. He says that explicitly. He's like, you learn to ignore those like little bits of pain and only pay attention to like the prolonged pain, because that means something went wrong. You broke something, or you hurt something, or something's actually injured. But just like the contact punching, doesn't hurt that much. So it's a lot of, fake punching, but they're just barely making contact in most of their shots.
Yeah. But to kind of answer your question, Elon, the movie overall, I don't think anyone would say that this is like one of the best movies ever made.
Sure.
But god damn, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It is just such a fun, turn your brain off movie. It's one of those movies where John Carpenter definitely has a style. Shares a lot of similarities with George Romero. I think anyway, from like a filmmaking standpoint. It was also the time period that the movie was made too. But it's just a lot of like over the top fun, a lot of one-liners. The story, what's funny is the story is not super complicated. You know, you can kind of figure it out like if you're watching it, but the way it's executed, I mean, there was like some of the whole scene where they're bulldozing through the kind of lot in front of the church where they're broadcasting. That seemed to like just go on forever, and it was just chaos. And I'm thinking, how the hell did they pull this off in 1988? You know, there's just so much going on, and you know, like there's a lot of like kind of cheesy stunt moments in the movie just because it's, you know, the 80s. But when it gets to like Roddy Piper like basically killing those two cops in the beginning, like you know, the two, you know, alien cops or whatever, and he punches them, I really felt like he punched them the way, again, that was his job, to sell you know, sell that kind of stuff. But overall, I thought that like even the score, which was fairly simple, man, it just worked.
But
like
effective,
it just
very effective.
Yeah, and I know the score was written by John Carpenter, and I'm not sure the other person's name.
Yeah, but it's some collaborator. But yeah, which is
Alan Howard.
True for most John Carpenter movies.
Yes, and the writer, fun fact, you guys probably already know this, is John Carpenter, not his a pseudonym.
Yeah.
So like for whatever reason,
Frank Armitage.
Yeah, it's not Frank Armitage. It reminds me of when the Coen brothers edited Fargo, but they couldn't, like, because the studio was like, well, no, you can't edit your own movie or whatever. And they're like, okay, we found, you know, this guy or whatever. And it was like, it was them.
Right.
So yeah, just the overall like fun movie, definitely dated. But what was her name? Meg Foster. All I have to say is her eyes on the 4K Blu-ray. I mean, on any format, I'm just like, holy, like, my wife is like, this woman with her eyes, because she's familiar with Meg Foster from He-Man, you know, Evil Lynn.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and she's like, yeah, and I told her, I'm like, she's actually, they used to use like camera filters to try to bring her eyes down in the, because they were just too distracting and too beautiful. Imagine someone saying, your eyes are too beautiful. We have to do some. You know, very, very.
If there's
fun.
anybody to use that phrase on, it's her. It's literally hypnotic. It's literally hypnotic.
Yeah.
You just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't think anybody watches this movie for the dialogue, but you know, between characters, because there's a lot. I mean, there's some fun stuff.
Surprised. I think the dialogue is in more of like a quotational kind of way, because there are a bunch of quotes in the movie that are kind of funny and that are, you know, very memorable. But I would agree. I don't think it's the dialogue is not the strong suit of this movie.
Definitely.
Yeah. What would you rate it? Whatever rating scale you want to use.
So I like to go out of -100. And I do averages. So no, out of 10
on a bell curve.
Yeah, on a bell curve. So if I compared it to Biodome, it would probably Biodome's like everything is above Biodome. But no, out of 10, I would probably give it a solid. I actually haven't thought about. I don't like rating movies like that. You put me on the spot, just because I think when you give a numerical value to something, it kind of can diminish it.
Whose line is it anyway, though? Like, you know, the points.
Yeah, the points don't matter. Yeah, everything's made up. Like points don't matter. Yeah. So yeah, I would probably say, as far as like, would it be in my top 5? Because Mark XRP said it isn't his. I probably wouldn't say it's in my top 5, but it would be in my top like 15. Like, I liked it that much, like from the 80s. So if I had to give it something out of 10, I'd probably give it like a solid 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start with mine. I would give it a 9. I love everything about this movie for the most part, but mostly because to me, it feels like they understood the assignment. I feel like when you have, Rowdy Piper is not an actor, he's a wrestler first and foremost. So just like leaning into that and knowing that you have a wrestler as your main character, I think that's why, you know, the fight scenes, the action, all that stuff works so well, is because he is a professional at physicality. His whole job is to know how his body moves and how it responds and all that stuff. And then on top of that, knowing that he's not an actor, I love how much of the story is told without any dialogue or exposition really whatsoever. The way that he figures out what's going on with the glasses, just as an example, is there's nothing talked about until afterwards when he has to explain to Frank right before they fight. And then even then, it's still just put him on, you know, like,
Yeah.
and he puts them on, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And then, you know, he like goes on like a little diatribe in one of the stores or whatever, where he's like, I put the glasses on, and you all look like a bunch of, you know, like he explains it there, but the entire previous scene is him figuring that out, and they managed to do it without any dialogue whatsoever. And just, you know, him putting them on, him looking at the magazine, him seeing the guy at the stand and all that. And I just think that like they knew exactly what they had. And like you said, Brad, they didn't take themselves too seriously. And I think that it's just like such a unique movie because of that. As far as a piece of film, I do, you know, when people use the lines, they don't make movies like that anymore. I mean, this is definitely a movie that they don't make like that anymore.
Yeah. And for context, if someone's wondering, I said the you know, I said that line in like the text thread that we had, you know, and I also said something else, and now my brain has just went like a I still feel jet lagged from the Chicago trip. That was a lot of socializing in 2 days for an introvert. Yeah, I need like a week, full on week to recover from all that. It is just such a fun movie, and you know, I love artsy. I don't want to say artsy movies. Like I love movie, like, because a lot of movies are art to me. Some movies are not. Some movies are just pure entertainment. Yeah. And I feel like that while this is pure entertainment, John Carpenter is an artist, in my opinion.
I agree.
He does have a way of moving the camera or not moving the camera or showing things in a certain way. I mean, we're talking about a guy that made The Thing and Halloween and Escape from New York. I'm missing something else in there. Why can't I think of it?
A lot of classics.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big gamer too. So obviously, you know.
Oh, well, that just ruins him.
He does right by me, you know. I need to meet him one day. I've met George Romero before he passed, but now, you know, John Carpenter. I need to meet him as well. Get a picture with him. But yeah, I think that this is just one of those movies that you can have fun with. And if you take it seriously, then you're not going to have fun with it. Because if you go in, you know.
Oh, man. Yeah. He's done a couple of these. In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, Big Trouble in Little China. That's right.
Big Trouble in Little China.
That's the one I couldn't, yeah.
The Fog.
Oh, my. Yeah.
He
the original, not
to be confused with The Mist.
Yeah. The Mist.
Right.
Yeah, the Fog. Yeah, everybody. When I mention the Fog, if I mention the Fog to somebody, they think of the remake with Clark Kent, Tom Welling from Smallville. I'm like, wait, yeah, he was in that. I forgot. Yeah, the Fog, the Mist, all the, you know.
Wow, he's got a really good cinematography or filmography.
Yeah,
impressive. Yeah, and Keith David was also excellent.
Like, I love Keith David.
Same. The voice really does it for me.
He's probably most known for his voice acting, but I think it's always a pleasure whenever I see him in the flesh. I'm like, hey, Keith David.
Right.
He's got just such that. I mean, it's clear why he has such a prolific career with being a voice actor, because his voice is just incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing his face and hearing his voice is it's a treat.
Also really seeing him so baby faced in this.
Yeah.
You know, because he was also in The Thing as well, right? Like he He was, I mean, The Thing came out before this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just had been a while since I had seen that young of a Keith David, you know. It's kind of like seeing Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China and things like that. But honestly, it's so actually easier for me to see Kurt Russell like that because I grew up watching, you know, Overboard and Captain Ron and all these movies with Kurt Russell in it. And that's a movie we should watch, Captain Ron. But yeah, to see Keith David, I'm like, oh my God, he was a baby. Yeah. Or seeing Wilford Brimley Wilford Brimley without a mustache in The Thing is like, I don't know what I'm looking at and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
And it doesn't have diabetes.
No. The crazy thing is, you know, when you watch a movie like this and then I don't know if you guys ever do this where you look up the age of these like these people in the movie and you're like, oh my God, they were younger than I am. And I'm like, but yet they look so much older. Like Wilford Brimley in Cocoon, I can't get over how young he was, but how old. It's just a different time. It's just, you know, different time period and everything.
I know. Wasn't he in his like late 30s or early 40s in Cocoon?
That might be. I don't think he was that young.
Wasn't he like 18?
He was 18. Let's see.
Already with diabetes and a mustache and a walrus.
Check your diabetes and check it off. And so,
Elon, what's your rating on They Live?
Yeah.
Oh, gentlemen, you're not gonna like it.
It's low.
Yeah.
I gotta go, guys.
I don't know. I was in it. But honestly, this tends to happen.
Half the people that watch.
This tends to happen when I watch something by myself. I get a little bit more analytical than I probably should because I have no other like bearing. And yeah, I have no other.
There's no sounding board to bounce.
Yeah, like, and if it's terrible or if it's cheesy or if it's whatever, like I'll probably like crack jokes or whatever to somebody if they're next to me, whatever. Otherwise, yeah, it's just these thoughts that run through my head just alone. And yeah, but I must have been in a weird mood too, because I don't know, I tried shutting my brain off, but like all I could think of was that Roddy Piper has one speed and it's just him lumbering through this town at one speed. And obviously the lack of dialogue, but this was something I knew that was going to happen because he's not an actor per se, even though he is in a well-known wrestler. But that fight scene, man.
Yeah.
I tried so hard to like try and grasp what was actually happening and the ridiculousness of it. But in the end, I was like, this is still going on.
Yeah. You know, honestly, that fight scene is as funny as it was to watch, because at some point it just becomes like this, oh my God, they're still going. And then it's kind of one of those things, like one of those jokes where you tell it, you kind of let it sit, and then like, oh, now it's not funny. Oh, it's funny again.
Yeah.
That fight scene felt like something out of Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Like it just wouldn't stop. Right? Like it just.
I love the fight scene.
Oh, I'm not saying it was so comically done. I think that's what makes it. That's what made it so much fun for me, because at some point it stopped. It did stop being like, it was like, oh my God, it's still going. And then before I know it, my wife and I are laughing that it's still going.
Yeah.
It's
just
around
like
to being funny.
It just kept, and it was just like, okay. So like, I would totally get it though if someone was like, yeah, there are parts of this movie that just linger on too long or that are just way too slow. Especially, and I'm not saying this about you, Elon, in particular, because we've talked a lot and you're not part of the TikTok generation where everything has to, I read somewhere they're like, I'm old enough. Yeah. I think I meant to send it to you guys, but it was Thelma, was it Schumacher? The woman who always edits Martin Scorsese's movies. She was like teaching a class or whatever, and she was like, one of the guys like, well, I do all the things that you're required to do as an editor, which is like, cut every 3 seconds and do that. And she's like, I don't know where you heard that, but like, and I don't know why you're
gross.
doing it, but stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
3 seconds.
yeah. And that's one of those like TikTok things is like, you know,
Gross.
as it's
Yeah.
actually so funny because one of the biggest, and Elon knows this, is, you know, one of the biggest things with like YouTube is the hook in the beginning. They want, you know, you want to, you know, bring someone in with the hook. And to do that, a lot of the recommendations out there are cut, you know, make all the cuts no longer than 2 to 3 seconds, but go shorter if you can. So it's like 1.5 seconds. And I'm like, no, I don't do it. I don't do it. Cause I'm like, this go like, and I'm like, okay, I get it. It's like, oh, it's going to grab people, but I'm like, this is a tutorial. Like, I'm not like, I'm going to show you how to do this, you know?
That's how you end up with Liam Neeson jumping over a fence for 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys have seen that, right? From like it's one of the later Takens. I know it's not from in the first one, but I don't remember which one it's from. But there's literally like a scene of him jumping over a fence, and it's like cut. I'm like,
I think I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but the Resident Evil final, I think it's called the final chapter, was it has a cut probably every 2 to 3 seconds. I kid you not. It is so hard. The fight scenes are just a mess, just a complete mess. So yeah, to watch this, I mean, there was some, I love the way, I always say, like, I love the way that John Carpenter moves the camera or places the camera in a scene. And I know that Elon, as a filmmaker, you can appreciate that, you know, even though the movie is like, I love when the cops are coming in to, like, you know, basically raid the kind of church, whatever. And you see that shot of them, like the cars coming, and then it cuts to like inside the police cars that's pulling up, and it cuts back out, just stuff like that. It kind of just brings you in to it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely could see that like the movie is not for everyone.
Well,
I mean,
like
I'll be honest, I hate Fight Club. I've never liked that movie.
Yeah.
I love the cinematography and everything about it, but when like I literally, like, when we tried to watch it, because I had like issues with the Blu-ray and everything, I was like, I'm not gonna make it this week, because I'm like, one, I don't want to, if I'm gonna watch this, I'm gonna at least watch it in the highest quality possible. And yeah, it was like, I wouldn't say hate's probably a really strong word, but it's not a movie that I enjoy watching all the time. Like there are moments.
Hated They Live, so you're in the clear.
Yeah, you hated it. Would you? What would you rate it out of 10?
Probably like a 5.
Okay,
Like that's not as bad as I thought.
Like a solid.
So it's still above Biodome. It's still above Biodome, which is like a solid 1.
Yeah, like it was
in a filter. Sorry,
it was entertaining enough, but like yeah, because again, it's probably because I was by myself. Because a fight going on that long when you're by yourself, it's like, I mean, I'm checking my watch, I'm checking my phone, I'm like, we got to continue the story, fellas. I mean, we just
they are continuing the story. The fight is part of
it. Yeah. I will agree that it went on too, like, there is a point where they could have cut it down and gotten the same kind of effect out of the scene and moved on. But I will admit that I was also kind of half paying attention when all of a sudden, what's her face hits him and shoves him out the window, and then he tumbles out. Oh yeah.
Wow. I had to rewind it because I was, I wasn't exactly like locked in. Yeah. When I was watching that particular scene, and then it happened, I'm like, oh shit. what just happened? So I rewound it, and it's like, oh,
I like how they
I didn't see that coming at all.
I really like how they set up that scene, because just before that is the part, where he finds out, but he puts the glasses on for the first time and is kind of discovering that whole thing. So you go from like this regular color scheme to like the black and white colors. And then when he meets her and they're in her apartment or her house or whatever in the Hollywood Hills, like it's very bright and colorful and everything. And then he kind of, gets shoved out the window or whatever. And it's just like that, that kind of like comparative, like, hey, how am I supposed to feel,
Yeah.
how are we supposed to feel about this woman, because you don't really know that much about her at that point. And it was like, it's cool because it's a little misleading in that regard.
Yeah.
It was funny because like later on in the movie when she's like, I thought I killed you, and he was like, so did I. Like that line. But at that point I was like, as soon as the explosion happened there, I was like, oh, she was like, she's totally working with them. Because like, and then when they showed up at the TV station and like the antennas and everything were on top, I was like, well, she lied to him. She's like, yeah, I checked, it was clean. I was like, nah, yeah, you're lying.
Yeah,
Keith David.
Little disappointing. I was hoping she wasn't gonna turn on him. I do love not the ending shot.
Yeah,
but I do love
the middle finger.
The middle finger is so great because like this movie inspired games like Duke Nukem, and like that is that's what I picture when I picture that like toxic masculinity of like late 90s characters like that, and just like the fact that Duke Nukem is like an amalgamation of Ash from Evil Dead, and then basically Nada from this movie is kind of like, and even Big Trouble in Little China, like there's a couple kind of parallels that they all kind of like are amalgamated into this person, Rambo, Arnold from Commando and stuff like that. I just think it's really cool to see it because I played Duke Nukem way before I ever saw this movie, so like seeing that after the fact, it's like it was nice. It was cool little surprise to find that out.
This is also like funny because the Thing is also prolific. Yes,
definitely.
100%. The Thing is also prolific in that on the original Xbox there was a video game. It was actually really good. Like it was a licensed video game. John Carpenter's The Thing. Like I said, he's a big gamer. This is a movie that, like you mentioned, Duke Nukem, and I'm surprised that a movie based off of this, or I mean a video game based off of this movie, I feel like would do pretty well.
Yeah, especially like a narrative game.
A narrative, not a multiplayer. There's a lot of like multiplayer, or they're doing a lot of like the Halloween, like Friday the 13th, where it's like, one person plays the killer or Jason Voorhees or whatever, and then like you have a group of people trying to escape, and the whole point is to like band together and find supplies and then get out. Like that's cool, but I'm like, give me like a narrative experience, not a Telltale style game where it's like, The Walking Dead or something where it's all just told like that way, but like something where you're actually involved in the story.
No, this would be perfect as a game by Teon Studios that did the RoboCop Rogue City game. And Terminator, not Salvation. I forget what the Terminator game is called.
The new one, the side-scrolling.
No. It's a first-person shooter.
Is it like Rise of the Resistance or something like that?
I don't know. It's almost exactly like the RoboCop Rogue City game. Shoot, I'll find it, but it's like a first person shooter, like the RoboCop game. There's not much to it. You can beat the entire game with RoboCop's Auto 9. You don't, there's other weapons in the game and stuff, but you don't have to use any of them. You can beat the whole game with the Auto 9. And I literally spent a good 75% of that game just shooting dudes in the dick. Like once I realized that you could shoot the guys in the dick and they react specifically to a dick shot, I was like the whole time just same thing with this similar game.
Yeah, what's funny is I actually have the RoboCop game I bought like for, I think it was like $3 years ago on PC, and I've yet to play it. Like I think it's time. I remember I installed it on like when I had an older video card, and like it was not. I was like, okay, this is cool, but now I just remember like you could shoot the pillar, like the stone pillars and everything, and like they would start breaking apart, and I just thought that was super cool. But might be time
Terminator
to
Resistance.
Yes, I just looked it up.
Terminator Resistance, and it is the same. It's the same game developer, Teon.
Okay.
So, dude, do Teon, if you're listening, do
They
Do a
Live.
friggin' They Live game. I'll play that all day long. Just put all the fun shit in there. Make it a mechanic to take the sunglasses on and off and stuff, and I'm in. It'd be awesome.
That's honestly one of the really cool things about this was the visuals of the aliens.
Played by the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, seriously,
like-
they are. The stunt coordinator is every single alien you see in the movie, except when they show group shots of them. Any scene with
Oh,
an
wow.
alien having dialogue or like as an individual is the same guy.
Because
pretty funny.
the makeup is amazing, and I
Yeah.
think it makes it stand out even more, and it looks even more crisp because it's black and white whenever he
Yeah.
has the sunglasses on.
I also
Like-
feel like they did a certain thing with the black and white though, in that it doesn't look like a traditional like high contrast black and white.
Mhm.
It had an almost infrared look to it.
Yeah,
He talks about that on the commentary. I forget what the process was that they used, but you're nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, he specifically talks about how he wanted it to seem otherworldly but still real. Like,
Okay, yeah.
like it wasn't, you weren't seeing like ultraviolet or infrared. There's no predator vision or anything like that. Yeah.
But like the there's just a certain look to it where it has that otherworldly look, and they also use like diffusion and things like that to give it that otherworldly look too. I will say a lot of those scenes in with the glasses on, you can tell these are matte paintings, or these are illustrations, especially of all the signs and everything. Now, obviously, the magazine rack with all the stuff on it, like that was all practical and real. But these big city shots where all the signs are replaced with these subliminal messages, that was all like drawn on and stuff. Which at the time, I mean, it still holds up. Just like all the matte paintings and like Ghostbusters still hold up really well, even if you can see the matte lines. But I thought it was like pretty well done. And I like that it wasn't like just a traditional black and white thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the scene where the little like camera drone, when he's running out of he runs out of a building, and then there's like a camera drone in the alleyway right before they get into the fight, I think. And I've seen it multiple times, and it makes me laugh every single time because it flies above him, and he's like, "Oh, you're here because you're going to tell your little friends or whatever." And he cocks the shotgun and shoots the thing. And then immediately after, they cut to a scene of him, and the animation that they used, there's a matte painting for the background, and then the animation that they used above the buildings of the actual drone blowing up shows it exploding into all these like big pieces.
Yeah.
And so he kind of does like this thing of like, oh God, it's going to hit me. I better like shield my head. But all you see is the shotgun shell on the ground, and then there's no pieces that fall or anything. So he's just like, oh, okay, time to go.
Yeah.
It always cracked me up because he's literally shielding himself from nothing.
Yeah.
It's a little obvious in that part, but
that's actually something I noticed. My mouse is not just being weird. Oh wait, hold on. I was gonna highlight this comment.
Mouth.
Yeah, they used Mark says they used a Ghostbusters prop and They Live, and yes, they did. I noticed it right away near the end of the movie. They're talking about it in the comments, but one of the guards was holding like a walkie-talkie thing, the PKE meter.
Yeah,
from Ghostbusters, which they've actually used in quite a few other movies, unaltered. So it's literally the same prop they just got from the prop house. It was also used in Suburban Commando.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I just remember seeing it, and I go, and my wife's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a PKE meter from Ghostbusters." Like, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like, it was so funny.
That would be even funnier if you had mentioned that and you were like, "It's the thing from Suburban Commando."
It's
like that's how you recognize it.
I don't recognize anything from Ghostbusters unless someone's zipper comes down while they're anyway. Sorry. That's one of not to sidetrack, but that is one of those scenes where as a kid I had no idea what was going on. Right. And then as an adult I watch it and I'm like, wow. This was in the movie. Okay. That's so funny. But
yeah,
yeah,
Jeff Imada, that's the name. The Jeff Imada is the ghoul. He plays every ghoul in the movie except for when there's multiples on screen. But every ghoul that has dialogue or that has a close up, he was the only one that could fit into the costume. Even the females. There's a female ghoul credited, but I think the only scene that she's actually in is when they're in the ballroom and that guy's giving the speech, and I forgot what the other dude's name was, but you mentioned it because I thought that was weird too. Is they're all like in suits and dressed up real nice, and then Nada and Frank come up and they're in like jeans and their work clothes, and nobody pays any attention to them for some reason.
Yeah, because that's why I really liked the look of the aliens, because nowadays 100% it's going to be CGI. Either just like CGI just over their faces, or the entire shot is built in a computer. So I really liked how it was just all practical. And
yeah, they're supposed to be dead. They're supposed to look like corpses. Was the direction that Carpenter gave the costumes team and the makeup effects team, is that he wanted it to look like humans that had been rotting for an extended period of time, and I think nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah. I think what I liked about it too was that when the glasses come on, and even, my wife actually noticed this first. She's like, it almost looks like like a lot of the technology they're using in this other dimension or other world is like almost like 1950s, like old like sci-fi. And I was like, yeah, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and that kind of thing. And I like that aesthetic that, it kind of shows you they've been here since this long at least.
It's like retro futuristic.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were talking about the video game. There's actually an unofficial 2009 Russian developed first person shooter game called They're Alive. It was inspired by They Lived. It had a protagonist named Jim Fail fighting aliens disguised as humans, using glasses to see the alien forms in an exhaust pipe as a weapon.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It is known for being a very low budget, janky title. Now there was a Reddit post 2 years ago that says They Live Taeon's next game after RoboCop. So I'm sure Taeon is very aware of
it just seems like the perfect, because again, RoboCop, as far as a video game, there's not much to it. Terminator as a video game, there's not really much to it that, like I even think for like a Terminator game, when you're thinking about designing something like that, you can go one of two ways. You can play as the Terminator, or you can play as a resistance fighter, going against them. And I feel like They Live is kind of like the same thing. There's really only two ways that you can go with this. And just the concept is so simple that if you can nail the basic gameplay loop, like, it's like Assassin's Creed. Despite all their faults, there's parts of every Assassin's Creed game that I don't really like or haven't liked or whatever. But as long as that core loop is good and tight, I'll play those games all day long. I can play the same little encounter a million times over, and as long as I can do it in different ways with the same mechanics, I'm in all day long. So again, if they did this one, and I think they really could lean into the sunglasses thing, like you could put the sunglasses on, but if you do, then the aliens know, they become more aggressive to you, or they start to like seek you out or something like that. But if you take them off, you blend in.
Calling other aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
He got one that could see us. Yeah,
I know, right?
So good. This one, real ugly.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Elon. That's a bummer. It's a bummer that you felt that. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like get it. Like, there are movies I've watched where I'm just like, yeah, no.
I get it. I'm just disappointed because I think I suggested this movie and I really thought you were gonna like it, Elon. So
Yeah.
I'm just bummed because it's like, to me, I mean, Brad, you kind of said it. It's such a fun movie. Even the commentary, listening to the director, to John Carpenter and Roddy Piper talk about the movie, it was so fun. Like the whole time I was just enjoying, they barely even talk about the production of the movie. They're mostly talking about like fun things that they remember about like how they got to certain places. Or they talk a lot about Roddy's like wrestling career and how that influenced some of the stuff, but there's very little in the way of like actual production knowledge or production information. And yet the whole time I was watching, I was like, man, this movie had to be so much fun to make, because if they're talking about it, I listened to the Shout Factory commentary. I don't know if that's different from the other ones, but that they recorded that like 20 years after the movie came out, and they're still recalling these things with just such a genuine joy that I'm like, it would have been so fun to work on this movie or be a part of the movie in any way. And you can just tell, because they seem like they were having so much fun just talking about it in hindsight. And I mean, that's the kind of thing I love to be involved with. Anytime somebody can just talk about it with such joy and passion, I'm in.
I would imagine I would really enjoy listening to that commentary as well.
Yeah.
And kind of like when you were talking about Secret of the Ooze in that commentary. Yes, Secret of the Ooze isn't, the best movie, but hearing all the stuff that went on in the background and behind the scenes and stuff makes you appreciate it more. So I feel like I would appreciate They Live more if I listened to that. But again, it's like, I don't know. I didn't really have anywhere to go either. It's not like I had this 2-hour window that I had to fit They Live in. And, this was, a hindrance to something that I was going to be doing eventually later that day. Like, no, it was just, I don't know what it was. I probably need to watch it again, but yeah, especially with the commentary, I think would satisfy this bad taste in my mouth.
Well, I think that this is a two-parter, in case anyone's wondering. No, I think that when you're in a certain type of mood, or you have to force yourself to watch something for, let's say, whatever reason, it's like this, like podcasting. It's like, okay, I have to watch this. Like, you go into it, you can go into it with a different perspective or a different bias, and especially if you're just kind of having an off day, which we all do. Like, there are days where like we've watched movies before, and I'm just like, I really didn't care for that. And if by all accounts, it should be a good movie, but like for whatever reason, it just didn't hit with me or doesn't resonate with me for whatever reason. Maybe I just I wasn't fully awake, or my mind was somewhere else. I just was not in the mood to watch, that type of movie. Like sometimes you want to watch a comedy, and when you watch a horror movie, when you want to watch a comedy, it's not really not what you want, right? I guess the other part though is this is going back to to you talking about rewatching it with a commentary. Has there ever been a movie or even TV show that you guys have either watched with commentary or the making of that made you appreciate the movie so much more that you ended up rewatching it and liked it, whereas like maybe you didn't care for it that much before?
That has happened to me a few times, but not super often. I'd have to actually try and think of a movie that I felt like did that.
Yeah.
Because the first one that comes to mind is actually Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one, but I think that had more to do with us actually talking it through and because at the time that we had watched the second one, I was mainly nostalgia driven. I just remembered loving the second one so much as a kid. And I definitely loved the first one. I don't think I would have seen the second one if I didn't like the first one, but it was mostly like our discussion that kind of like took the rose-colored glasses off a little bit. And then when I ended up watching it, I was like, oh wow, this is a better movie. And then when I listened to it with the commentary, it was like, actually, this is a fantastic movie. And literally my only gripe would be that I wish that they had made, there's got to be a first one, but I really wish that they had the technology from the second one to use on the first one, because then that would have been like an immaculate film, in that case. And at least for They Live, I kind of feel like, people talk a lot about why hasn't this movie been remade, or why isn't there like a newer version of this movie? And that is kind of the feeling to me, is in my mind. I think the only way that they could improve this is with the technology of the time. Now we have much better technology, so I'm sure that they can capture the things that they want to capture a lot more faithfully to what's in their heads or whatever it is. But I don't know that I want that, because this movie has really captured the feeling that I think they were going for, and it did what they did, and I don't know. I can't see them doing it again without Roddy Piper, and like, who would you put in that role that would have that same kind of like deadpan, I'm gonna say lack of acting skill, but that's not what I mean, like just that toned down acting with the physicality of somebody that's a wrestler. The Rock has tried it a million times, in every movie he's in, he's The Rock. So
Dave Bautista.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Actually,
because he's actually a really good actor.
Yeah, he's not bad. But like, I feel like Drax is basically kind of nada in a way.
Well, if you actually, my wife and I talk about Dave Bautista all the time, because I think he's also just like a cool human being.
Yeah.
Really
seeing some of the other dramatic work that he's done, they Knock at the Cabin, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, really surprised me there. His small performance in Blade Runner 2049. I think he's
even had some good comedies that I enjoyed.
Right.
But like, he's an excellent dramatic actor, and I think people hated that he stopped playing Drax, but he did that for a few different reasons. But I think they should, Mark said they should never remake this. I agree. They should never remake this movie, or try to do like a sequel, 45 years later or whatever.
They live again.
But and to Derek's point about, having the technology now to kind of capture basically more what's in their head, I think that is a good thing, but also a bad thing at the same time. And we've talked about it before on the podcast, how limitation breeds creativity. And to have all these tools now at your disposal is great, but you can overuse those tools, and I think we're seeing that a lot in these kind of like bland movies that come out these days. And which is
There's
why
gotta be restraint. There has to be restraint.
There has to be.
And without those limitations, I feel like, when the world's your oyster and you can make literally whatever you want, you tend to make literally whatever you want.
Yeah. And I think that there is it's kind of like just having an unlimited color palette if you're trying to paint something, or having just all the colors in the world at your disposal. It's like, what do you do? It's like too much choice, which is, why we've talked about color grading here before. And I think that there is an overabundance of overly color graded crap out there from major directors. And, thank God, like, even Denis Villeneuve, all of his stuff, it's on the teetering point of being too aggressive in terms of grading, right? What?
I'm just making sure you're saying nice things about Denis.
Yeah. Well, we can all agree that Arrival was a waste of time. No, just all talking to aliens. Who cares? No, there's a lot of movies these days that, if you watch any type of like YouTube tutorial about like what it takes to be, a color grading person, and or to be like a colorist, a major studio, and you see like, obviously they're using DaVinci Resolve, which is like industry standard, but it's like the amount of stuff they do to like an image. I'm like, why? Really, what is the point of overdoing all of this just because you can? I understand if there was a problem on the day and you're trying to fix something, like you're like, oh, this person's eyes were completely in shadow, let me try to brighten them up a little bit. I totally get that. But when it's like every shot there needs to be like 800 different masks trying to like, I gotta isolate the green in this one particular tree in the background that's so deeply out of focus that it's just calling attention to it. So I don't like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just as long as you have restraint, because anytime that I've seen a movie where I kind of like when they have like those CGI fests, I kind of tune out. And the movie that I'm thinking of specifically, which may not be the best example because overall I liked the movie, but the original Black Panther, that like ending scene where there's like a fight and it's very clearly all done in CG, and and it's like fine, but all it makes me think about was like, was that a necessity? Did they do it with just pure CG out of necessity? Because especially with who Black Panther is and like the type of character he is, it's very physical, very, melee, up close combat fighting kind of sort of stuff. And so I think, just preferred to see two actors really get in close and actually fight. I mean, not quite They Live style, but something where it's like a physical, extended fight scene that's really up close, and the CG just kind of upended that a little bit for me.
Yeah, there was a reason, and I'm trying to remember what it was, why they ended up doing it pretty much full CG. Because I occasionally watch visual effects artists react, like
Corridor Crew, love Corridor
and they've
Crew.
talked about it because they have a lot of the stunt guys and stuff on there too, or because they'll do like a stuntman react and all this react and all this stuff, and they talked about why that was, and I think they had one of the actual visual effects artists that worked on the final Killmonger fight in Black Panther in the first movie, and they explained why. And it had something I honestly can't remember. I was trying to look for it, but it because it only really, like, the CGI only really gets terrible by the end. Like at the end of the movie, it's kind of like they had a problem, like maybe a problematic like final act that they had to redo, and they couldn't afford. I don't know, honestly, but yeah.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I think it feels like when, like you're saying, it's that last resort and they have to turn to that. That to me just comes off as like a lack of planning, maybe, or like a lack of vision of what it should look like. And if they can't get that, then that just to me feels like they haven't really thought that through. Because I there's a ton of movies that I feel like we watch movies for people. Even when a movie is animated, you're watching it because you're interested in the characters and what's happening to the characters. And a lot of the times when you get CG versions of characters, it just kind of, it upends it. And that's not, and I mean, I guess the Uncanny Valley thing has a little bit of play in that. When, you're realizing that they're not actually human beings, but I think it just has more to do with it taking you out of the environment of the movie or the experience of the movie. And that's where, I don't know, it just really kills it for me. So I hope they don't ever redo this movie. I'm not interested in a remake of it.
No.
Unless John Carpenter is involved and really feels like, he could do something that he missed out the first time. But I don't know.
I really like the idea. Again, I'm just going back to this because he's a gamer, that he would continue the story through a video game. Like, I think that would be a way to do it. Like, it's like you have this other medium at your disposal. You're John fucking Carpenter, man. Like, you could, you could definitely like probably make this happen if you wanted to, or I'm sure he's been approached by companies.
Maybe. What would the story be though? Like, how do you continue the idea when they blow up the communications tower and everybody now knows that the aliens are around? Does it then become like a Terminator type thing where humanity is hiding from the aliens and trying to like exterminate them, or what?
You might not even have to do that. You could do like an origin story of like, when did these guys get here? Yeah. Like what, like how long have they been here? Like you could,
the first guy that figured it out.
Yeah. And you could do an homage, like you can either do an homage to Roddy Piper or find someone to impersonate him. I think that would be a great way to do it, instead of, when the Telltale did the Back to the Future games, they obviously couldn't get Michael J. Fox for various reasons. So they got a like voice actor who does an impression of him that sounds almost exactly like Michael J. Fox to play Marty McFly. While they had Doc played by the Christopher Lloyd. So it was just, really awesome, and I think that would be a great way to kind of bring these characters back to go and like kind of, it doesn't even have to be like the complete origin story, but it could be like, even Roddy Piper's character, like where was he before? I mean, maybe there's not enough there, or maybe Carpenter would like to keep it kind of more vague, because it kind of adds to the story. But like there's so many other things.
Yeah, because they don't really go into his backstory much at all.
No, he was just like a drifter, right? Like he was just like
I'm looking for work.
Looking for work. Yeah.
I wonder if this is legit, but I'm seeing articles about a They Live quote unquote remake directed by Matt Reeves, but that goes back to the short story that it was based on, which is a short story called 8 o'clock in the morning, not a direct remake of They Live. I guess I would be okay with that.
So there's that part where it's like, okay, some people are going to see it as a remake. Because they're not going to know, just like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Everybody's like, oh, he's remaking Willy Wonka. It's like, no, he's making it off the book. And everybody's like, oh my God, that movie is so terrible. I'm like, did anybody read the book?
Yeah.
The book was, the book wasn't terrible, but it was like horrifying.
Yeah.
Like,
the movie captured the book better than the first one did by far.
Oh yeah. Because the first one, I mean, that would actually be a killer movie to watch, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, here to talk about, because I have way too much knowledge about this movie, and I've met all of the cast of like the kids like at a convention, and that was
really
no way.
Yeah. When they
get to meet Deep Roy.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not meet Deep Roy, although if I did, I would be like, I would not ask him about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I would ask him about Neverending Story.
Nice.
Because
I would ask him about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, just because I would want to know how many times he had to refilm every single scene.
Because he played all of the And you know what? Again, this is how we roll here, because we're just gonna go off topic. The fact that they did not purely CGI that, when at the time everything was pushing towards CGI. There's a lot of CGI in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but the fact that they just had him do this thing over and over again, hundreds of times, and then composited all of that. Hell yeah. Give me more of that. I know the movie's considered shit, but there are parts of the movie that I think are actually really good.
And Brad, you might be right. This other article says that the original producer of the movie is saying that there are additional quote unquote experience that could be made from it that aren't necessarily films. So I wonder if that means it's potentially going to be a video game.
Whoa.
What? Yeah, who knows? Although someone, I think Mark said Chris Pratt would be good for a They Live reboot, and I will respectfully disagree. I would like to actually see less of Chris Pratt in things, because I think I mean, I just don't know.
If it was, I would get it if it was goofy Chris Pratt. If it was like goofy Parks and Rec and original Guardians of the Galaxy, because that could work for me. But he's almost like, especially lately, feels like a lot of the movies that he's chosen to be in just feel like overly serious and kind of I don't know. The word I would use might be like sniffing their own farts, because it just it seems like he thinks he's making like this high end like cinema, and it's really mostly just like popcorn schlock.
Yeah.
Although I really did like Passengers, that movie with Jennifer Lawrence, where he was in space. And
I initially liked Passengers when I saw it, but then immediately became disappointed because I read a whole little diatribe about how it was originally supposed to be the writer of the movie wrote a different ending to the film, and that seemed far more satisfying to me than the ending that we got. And now I can't see the original movie without thinking about that, so it kind of ruined it for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, the ending did kind of suck.
Yeah, well, the I think we're like way off tangent now, but I think we're over our time, so we can be on our tangent. But I think if I remember originally, the kind of twist of the movie, you know, because in the original movie he kind of like doesn't really wake her up until kind of like the midway point of the movie. But it like leaves with her essentially being in the same situation that he was in at the start of the movie.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, you know, does she do the same thing that she was complaining about him that leads to the whole ending, which was kind of unsatisfying to me. But
yeah,
but yeah, when I watched it, I liked it. I thought it was a cool premise. I thought it was interesting. Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt did a great job. I loved that bartender. I thought that was such a great
Michael Sheen.
Yeah. But not just Michael Sheen, but as like the robot bartender was so good to me.
And I mean, score by none other than Thomas Newman. So
there you go.
Love me some Thomas Newman, you know. He's and his brother, David. A lot of iconic 80s. Like iconic it sounds like I'm making a joke, but no, his brother,
I was though.
Oh,
Randy Newman is not related. Randy. It's not even spelled the same way.
Further off tangent. No.
Yeah, you're talking about the guy that wrote Cars, right? I
don't think so. No.
Gary Newman? That's not the same guy?
No, David Newman.
Yeah, but is Gary not his brother?
I don't maybe. I just know David Newman did like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I think he also did the score for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Ooh.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but
Thomas Newman was Passengers?
Yes. Yep. David Newman is he created the orchestral score for the first two Bill and Ted films. I think he also did one of my favorite Val Kilmer movies of all time, Real Genius.
Okay. Then not the one I was thinking
all
of.
In
not
that
spelled
time
the
frame,
same.
Yeah, right. Like he's just, I mean, talk about prolific.
Oh, he is the cousin of Randy Newman. Oh my God, I was joking about that.
Oh,
I was totally joking about that, but that is serious.
Related, man.
They're all
He's the older brother of Thomas Newman and the cousin of Randy Newman, all of whom are composers.
Anytime someone mentions Randy Newman, all I could think of is that Mad TV skit about him writing, being asked to score Star Wars or write songs for Star Wars, and it was I think it was like Will Sasso.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's so fucking funny. It's so hilarious.
I've been watching Monk recently, and he did the theme song to that. And I think
that's right.
He might have done the score, like the episode scores also, but definitely at least the theme.
Yeah. So, anywho,
Monk is great.
Back on track.
Back on track. I do want to ask, because I know Elon and I are going to talk about
The Thing
next week for Double Take, but then the following week, have we decided what we're talking about? Because you had mentioned wanting to do a movie, Brad, and now I forgot what it was already. We'll have to rewatch this stream to figure out what movie we're suggesting.
What movie was I talking about?
It was Big Trouble in Little China?
No. Oh, you know what it was? Garbage Pail Kids.
No. It was today. It was today. You mentioned wanting to do.
Willy Wonka.
No, before that.
No, it was before that.
It was before that.
Dude, we talk way too much. We're boring Elon. Elon's been secretly yawning over there this whole time.
He's already asleep.
No,
this is just an AI. It's an AI avatar of Elon.
Well, it's
That's why it's so dark.
No, guys, come on,
guys.
Oh yeah, I mentioned at least texting between us that Legally Blonde is coming out in theaters later this month.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. Today's the 5th, so 2 weeks would be
Cinco de Mayo.
2 weeks would be the 19th. And Legally Blonde doesn't come out in theaters till the 24th and the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll need to come up with something for 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it and we'll update it in the newsletter on Substack.
Yeah.
So everyone knows. But Brad mentioned something. It was early in the conversation. You mentioned wanting to watch something, and it was today. You mentioned it today, but and I got like stoked to watch it too. So it's definitely a movie that I either like or haven't seen yet and want to watch.
Yeah. Just so you know, the Steelbook of They Live.
I paid way more than that.
Yeah. If you don't mind purchasing it from Amazon, is $22.
Or you can become one of our subscribers on Substack. Paid subscribers get into our giveaways where we give away the movies that we talk about. So you can get They Live, or you can get Legally Blonde, or whatever we pick for next time.
Yeah.
Come join us. Follow us on this magical journey of the Hidden Movie Club.
hiddenmovieclub.substack.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weekly newsletter every Tuesday.
I wear this shirt and people are like, what's that mean? I was like, it's the new DeLorean company.
Yeah.
Instead of DMC, it's HMC.
Hot Motor Company.
Hot Motor Company.
So
Hidden Movie Club. Okay.
Hidden Movie Club.
Well, I think that is it for today, right? Anything else you guys want to mention or talk about?
No. Subscribe to Elon Osborne. Subscribe to Home Theater Gamer if you haven't. I don't know who that is, but it's somebody.
Okay.
Bald guy. Yeah, there you go. Brad at hometheatergamer.com. Any questions?
Yeah, email him.
Email me about home theater related topics, not what we talk about here. I mean, you can. I'll just forward it to Elon. But yeah, I'll just be like, I don't know. Elon runs this shindig over here. I'm doing my own thing over here, trying to figure out how to get more amps. No, it's like I need 2,000 watts a channel minimum.
Wow.
Yeah, blow the roof off of the
Yeah.
off of the house.
Okay, well, then we'll see everybody next week for our double take, and then the following week for another After the Credits with the three of us.
Yeah. Watch The Thing for next week.
Yeah, The Thing. John Carpenter.
Watch it with commentary.
I wish I could Little Mermaid you and steal that voice, Brad. Just here, sign this contract and
the voice. Yeah, the voice I'll give you is oh God, what was his name in Little Mermaid?
Triton?
No, the
Sebastian?
little crab.
Sebastian,
yeah. Under the sea.
Ariel,
anyway, I don't want to get copyright flagged for Elon.
Ariel. I can do the Cave of Wonders.
Dare enter the Cave of Wonders.
So you know what? You just need to practice, and you'll get there. I started. My original voice was not that good. We can talk about this off stream. We don't want to bore people with this. The people are like, bye.
Everyone loves this.
Yeah.
Okay. We love you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. See